In today's video, I'm going to have a little fun talking about famous television narcissistic parents. Two in particular, one is a woman, one is a man, a mother and a father who are classic narcissists. And whether or not the creators wanted to show narcissism and how these family systems work, I don't know, but they really both nailed it when it comes to narcissistic parents and family systems and how they operate. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I help wounded ACONs, adult children of narcissists, to become icons. What's an icon? Independent, confident, original, and naturally you. When you've lived your life for your narcissistic parent, it's been all about them. And so often we grow up not even knowing who we really are, what we really like, what we really want. And we end up doing everything else for them and what they want. Or we end up becoming so wounded and so fearful, and things are so awful for us that we isolate ourselves, we become really sick, all of those things. So I do holistic wellness for survivors. So with that, let's move on to these two famous TV narcissistic parents. I mean, what's more dramatic than a narcissist anyway? What creates more dramatic tension and craziness and makes the viewer go, oh my gosh, I want to watch the next episode because this is so insane, than narcissistic parents and narcissistic family systems. So these two shows I want to talk about, these two TV characters I want to talk about. I'm going to start with the female, with the narcissistic mother character. And this is Emily Gilmore from Gilmore Girls. Now, Amy Sherman Palladino, I adore you. I love your work. Dan Palladino, you guys are awesome. You created incredible shows. They also did The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But, you know, Emily Gilmore is a classic narcissistic mother. She is hardcore. She is... Whoa. And what you see too in that is the family system of it coming down the female line, because the show is really about Lorelai Gilmore and her daughter Rory Gilmore, and how they went no contact when she was 16 years old. They had to get away. Lorelai had to get away from her parents because they were just so horrible. At least the mother was so horrible. She couldn't be around her because she was always trying to control everything that she did, how she looked. She was constantly criticizing her and putting her down and all of that. And the thing is that what's interesting is because Lorelai is an only child, you see in the series, you see her getting all different types of treatment. There are times where she's the golden child. Oh, you know, they're so proud of her now that she has opened up this inn and she's worked her way into creating the inn. Oh, but you know, she could have been so much more if she'd only not had that baby at 16. So there was always this give a compliment and then take it away. And that's something that narcissists will classically do. We see this a lot between narcissistic mothers and their daughters. The criticism is horrifying. And when I've worked with clients, and the things that they've told me about their narcissistic mothers and the way that they treated them, in terms of, you know, constantly putting them down, saying stuff about their weight or their hair, or, oh, you need to wear it this way because, I mean, that forehead is just ridiculously high. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's just, it wears away at a person, and it's something that creates a complex in the person as well. And that's something that you see in these TV shows where, you know, you see like with Emily Gilmore, who is rich and she's got everything and more of everything and more keeps coming, and she just keeps you know, just showing off how wealthy she is, and how she's always trying to put on airs to show everyone, you know, how perfect her life is. And we see her in a few times within the series, we see her break down when she's just really crossed the line so horribly. When she loses her daughter, you see her trying to reel her back in all kinds of ways, and using the granddaughter to reel the daughter back in. These are classic narcissistic moves. Now, because Lorelai Gilmore has, again, she's the only child. So there's times where, like I said, she's the golden child. You see her in some episodes where she's the complete invisible child. Well, we didn't really want you at dinner that night. We were really trying to schmooze with the really rich guy, super rich guy who is dating our granddaughter. And so in that episode, she was totally invisible. So, throughout the series, you see the impact this has, the narcissistic grandmother has on the daughter and then has on the granddaughter, and on their relationships and how it informs how they have relationships with men, who they are attracted to and why. And those are really profound, I think, especially in the relationship with the granddaughter, who was kept away from her parents for the first 15, 16 years of her life from the grandparents. And then she gets exposed to the grandparents, and the grandparents, she ends up having this amazing relationship with her grandfather, who also is narcissistic, but not nearly like Emily. He really kind of carries a lot of Emily Gilmore's plans out, which happens a lot in narcissistic family systems. It's like they agree on a lot of things, but he's still sort of carrying out her thoughts, her beliefs, her feelings, supporting his wife, because he also knows that if he doesn't do that, he gets in a lot of trouble too. So that's something you also see in narcissistic family systems a lot. I've seen that pattern over and over again with parents where the client was like, oh, my mom's the narcissist. And as we got deeper into the work we did together, it's like, wait a minute. My dad was the narcissist, and he was using mom as the puppet to carry out his narcissistic machinations. So this happens where you think you have two narcissistic parents, and you might have one who actually has the disorder is going to be without empathy. They're going to be all about themselves. They're not going to be able to put themselves in your place. They're going to be highly critical and controlling. And those were things that Emily Gilmore exhibited throughout the whole series, where it was really all about her. It's an amazing show. If you haven't seen it yet, that's why I started watching it. I had a friend who just kept saying, you got to watch it, got to watch it, got to watch it, because of what you do. You got to see this narcissistic family system and how these behaviors come down through the generations and how they affect the different people. And again, I don't know if the Palladinos were trying to get us to see that, or if that was even part of it. I'm guessing that they probably, one or the other of them, had parents that were like this, because you see similar things in Mrs. Maisel, similar themes around narcissism and critical moms and all of that. So, but anyway, I find Emily Gilmore to be the most fascinating female narcissist. There's lots of them. I mean, I could go on about all different types of characters on TV and in film that are narcissistic. Again, it plays well for drama, and that's what they want. They want to have something dramatic, a dramatic piece where we get really drawn in and we can't stop watching the show. And that's what happened with me when I actually started watching Gilmore Girls. And Emily Gilmore was one of the ones who really kept me. And there were times where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to watch her, but I want to know what happens next with Lorelai and with Rory, especially Rory. I just fell in love with Rory. What a great character. But you see her as she becomes an adult, she starts to become very different and much more like mother and grandmother in different ways. And so even those subtleties are in there. All right. So that's the female character I wanted to talk about. The male character, if you haven't already guessed, the one I want to talk about, this is more recent, a very recent show. This was profound. Okay, I'm going to talk about Logan Roy. Logan Roy from Succession. Now, Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, you guys are geniuses. I didn't know you guys had it in you. You guys are such great comedians, but you created one of the best dramatic series I've ever seen. Another one that I couldn't stop watching because of the realism in a narcissistic family system and what happens, because then you get to see 4 children. And at the time when, it's this big media empire, and Logan Roy, who's the head of the media empire, has these 4 kids, and they are messed up. Now, both of their parents were definitely narcissists. They ended up divorcing. But even the woman that he was married to, when we first start seeing the series, she seemed very highly narcissistic as well, differently. So it was intense. It's an intense show, but so good, because all of those kids were narcissistic. They nailed malignant narcissism with this character of Logan Roy, where he controlled everybody around him. He used his money to control everybody around him. The scapegoated child, who was like the smartest one, who had the most promise, was the one that he beat down more and more and more. And that was the one who wanted to be the truth teller, who kept trying to tell the truth. Whenever he told the truth, he ended up going no contact because he had to, or he got cut off, because that's what the narcissistic parent does. The dumbest of the kids, he was the golden child, and he was a full-on mess. The poor boy. He had all kinds of issues, sexual issues, just so emotional. He was so trauma bonded with his father. It was just really sad to see these relationships. And then the daughter, who was also a malignant narcissist. Oh my God, she was amazing. Wow, what a great actress. She's intense too. And you would see one of the things that this narcissistic father did, Logan Roy, he would take each one of them aside and promise them the empire. And he would, be so nice to them and don't worry, you've got it. And it was horrible the way that he really played with his children. And he used money to get them, money and power. And for him, power was money. But he had the huge fits, the huge, like, screaming at you fits. There were so many things in the series that, like using people as a human footstool. That's something that you will hear in the narcissistic communities of narcissistic abuse therapists, and is they basically use you as an object. And they literally did that in a scene. They would do scenes where they would watch Logan Roy would be humiliating everybody in the room, literally humiliating them in just horrifying ways. So this series, I'm probably not being a good promoter of it, but it's amazing. It's some of the best acting and writing I've seen in a very long time. I do highly recommend it, especially if you are an ACON, adult children of a narcissist, and you want to understand how those family systems work, and you feel like you're strong enough. You may not feel strong enough to be able to witness this. I don't think I could have watched this, 20 years ago, but it really helped me a lot in my work. Both of those characters, Emily Gilmore and Logan Roy, really helped me with understanding the narcissistic family system, whether or not the creators really wanted to put that across. They really did a great job of doing it on both counts. They really did a great job of that. So there's a million more things I could say about these two characters, and about the family systems that they created and how that was just portrayed so well in the show. I mean, for me, it's therapeutic to watch shows that depict this. It may not be therapeutic for you. So, if it doesn't feel resonant with you, then, don't go do it. You may just need to get to a stronger place. But it really helped me to see other people operating in these ways, and then to also go like, wow, that's exactly what I witnessed. That's exactly how they acted. And that's exactly how they, it was just like, whoa, I was mind blown so many times when I watched both Succession and Gilmore Girls. I highly recommend both shows. Gilmore Girls is a little bit more fun and lighthearted, but there's also a lot of drama, a lot of male toxicity in that show. Oh my gosh. But, that also can be a big part of narcissistic family systems, and then attracting toxicity in your romantic partner. So at any rate, if you haven't already done so, if this is interesting to you and you are interested in talking with me for a free consultation, you can get that in the links below. I offer free consultations to people who are interested in working with me one-on-one. If you know that you can't do that, I have another great offering for you, and that is the online course I have, Healing the 5 primary wounds of parental narcissistic abuse. And that's a fantastic course where you've got visualizations, you've got instruction, you've got PDFs, you've got journal prompts, all kinds of things to help you, things that you can use over and over and over again to help you with healing and unplugging from that energetic drain that a narcissistic parent puts you through. I help narcissistic abuse survivors go from being icons, adult children of narcissists with wounded icon, to healed icon, independent, confident, original, and naturally you. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. I hope that this information has been both entertaining and enlightening and helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this information will help you get well now.